I recently tweeted about, I saw a tweet about, and Colin Kaepernick, who we know of, played for the San Francisco 49ers as a quarterback, came out of Nevada. Now they ran a pistol offense. They played Oregon a couple times, University of Oregon in college. This player really was quite a player, 6'4", 220 pounds, and then going right to the NFL. But it was interesting what I saw on Twitter with regards to the social media. They talked about how right now, currently, Colin Kaepernick does not have work. He's not playing for anybody in the NFL, and
he's available.
He's available. And really, my response to the tweet that came about that he still does not have a job. He still does not have a team wanting them on their squad or to play for them. I sent something out with regards to this player. He is a good player. Comes from a good family. The thing about it though is it just was the choice. It came down to a choice as far as what platform do I use to make a statement. And what I mean by making a statement, there's a lot of platforms you can use. You can do, going on doing a
public service announcement, volunteering, helping out the people that you're feeling are needing help. You volunteer, right. Raise money to support them. There's lots of different avenues that you can take to fight something that you believe in.
But here's where I have a problem. My problem is what platform you used. It's like he used his employer for that platform to make a statement. Now, don't get me wrong. That's again, I see the reason behind what he was trying to say. I get it, I do. But the platform of the shield.
Well, and even more so than that, the platform of the flag. And I think that a lot of people took offense to that.
Right.
And there's one thing to take a stand and help out and try to make a difference. And there's another route that a lot of people take offense to. You're just offending everybody or a lot of people. So instead of, in my opinion, instead of focusing in on a solution, and I think that's where, we can make mistakes at times is, yes, we have issues in our society. We have lots of them. We have issues individually. All of us do.
Right.
But there's just so many different ways that you can go about helping and making a point and being a difference, making a difference in the world without offending the military or people that have gone on before us or just people that really feel strongly about their nation. And so, and again, we're not a perfect nation. We're not a perfect nation.
Here's the thing,
we make mistakes all the time.
I think the thing is, though, is that we get what he was trying to do.
Sure, we do.
We get it.
We understand.
Because I think a lot of viewers are saying, okay.
There's a lot of people that need help.
Right.
There's a lot of direction. A lot of people are lost in our society. A lot of people don't know who to trust, and you're supposed to trust certain people, and sometimes you're not able to trust those people, or there's an illusion that you can't trust certain people. And so, we get it. We understand that there's people that need help.
See, I don't want the viewer to think that, okay, we don't understand. We can't wrap our heads around it. But see, that's when I sent that backup tweet. And I said, I still support Colin Kaepernick in a sense of, I hope this guy lands a job. Now, let's be clear. He lands a job with a team, but the team is very specific in how and what. Because it's your employer. He pays you to do a job. And so, to me, as long as that team or that owner says, Colin, we'd love to have you. This is a new, fresh start. See it for what it is, but know that we're watching and that here's what we need from you. And really, then that way it's up front. It's right there in front of him. Before he signs the contract, it's right there. So then that way he can make a decision to say, you know what? I still stand behind what I'm going to do. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. And I choose not to be on your team.
Well, and, we talked about this, but, and it's a different scenario. But there's something to be said to kind of trying to figure out how does it compare. And one of the things that we compared it to was the Michael Vick situation. Now,
there was a team looking at him right now, currently, right? Is that the idea?
Well, so I was on the Dallas Cowboys site, and in the mailbag there was a question. Now you have Dak Prescott, who is a mobile quarterback.
Sure.
They don't want him to be mobile as much because, of course, that's when you get injuries. So, but he is a mobile quarterback, and the offensive line, and one of Colin's best year was when they had a solid offensive line, and so Dallas has a solid offensive line. So the question was posed, would you consider Colin Kaepernick as a backup? And there was a couple of responses that were interesting. One is, they're pretty happy with their backup that they have now.
Sure.
And number two, does the Dallas Cowboy organization, do they want the attention? And it was just like when Philadelphia signed Mike Vick, there was a lot of negative attention on the Eagles.
It was surrounding.
Yeah, and it was all over the league, and it was basically a hot topic for about 2 to 3 years.
Right.
I mean, he spent some time in jail. It was a huge.
He had to give a public apology. I mean, there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and Plaxico Burress is another one. Where he shot himself in the leg, and weapons charges and different things, and so there's a lot of negative attention on that too, and there's so many different things that we can point to between domestic violence issues that we've seen a few of that were high profile,
right.
The Ray Rice issue and some of these others. So there are a myriad of different reasons why a team, in fact, Ray Rice never played again in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he had the ability.
Right.
He was still young enough and in shape enough, he could have made a difference for a team. But no team wanted that publicity, that negative publicity.
Is it like that player's hot to the touch? He's just too hot.
Right, it's too hot. And that's, I think, the same thing with Colin Kaepernick, at least for this coming year. I only see 2 scenarios playing out for Colin Kaepernick. One is injuries. If there's a significant injury
to a team, right,
where they absolutely need a backup to come in, then I see that possibly happening for him. The other one is we just have to have time, and time heals all. Yeah. So that might mean that he's out for another year. It's unfortunate. I think he's getting up. I mean, he's not old. He's under 30.
Still.
But
there's been some shoulder injury.
Yeah.
He's had to have some surgery on the shoulder and so on and so forth. But again,
yeah. So I think time is going to be the major factor here, or injury, and then you'll see him in an NFL uniform. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. And even if a team like the Dallas Cowboys is interested, I think they hold off until the inevitable would happen to a team. So that, if that means that Dak Prescott gets injured, then I think they do possibly look his way because it's the same skill set.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think really too, D, there's other teams that need a quarterback. I can think of one right now, Minnesota Vikings. Where it's been questioned,
Teddy Bridgewater might not play again.
Might not play again, or they may not. I know this. Minnesota has not looked to sign Teddy Bridgewater for a long-term deal. So obviously there is some
In fact, I don't think they are signing him. And
they're not.
His road back to the NFL could be a long one. It could be a hard one.
Right. So that leaves in question for a guy like Colin Kaepernick. Possibly, maybe not now, but maybe it's one of those things where a team takes a look afar and says, just monitors the situation. What is this guy doing? What is he doing while his time is off? And really, we've seen it a lot of times where, NFL players have had time off due to something that's happened to them legally, and they spend their time.
Adrian Peterson is another one.
That's another one.
You know, it took a whole year suspended from the NFL for his incident.
Right.
So, you know, Colin Kaepernick is not the only one that has dealt with a major issue. Now, most of these are self-inflicted wounds.
Correct.
We've talked about this. I mean, the Adrian Peterson situation, the Plaxico Burress situation, the Michael Vick situation, and Colin Kaepernick. All of these, Ray Rice, all of these are self-inflicted wounds.
Right.
And so, you know, Colin Kaepernick just needs to look at himself. Say, you know what? What's the best course of action here? Not just humbling oneself and saying, you know what? There could have been another way that I could have handled this. But realizing that what are my steps forward? And if I truly believe in a cause, what am I doing? How am I supporting? What kind of whatever support that might be? Is that volunteering? Is that dedicating a portion of my funds to go support a certain segment of society or whatnot? And I think that's where it is what you do is what you do that's lasting is really what's going to make the difference versus just making a statement that basically draws more attention to you than it does the issue. And I think that's what he's struggling with now, is that there's more attention on him and not on the issue.
Well, and you look at anything like that too, is especially when you're on a team, when you draw so much attention to you're a quarterback, right?
Number one face of the franchise.
Exactly.
You're the face of the franchise.
If you're another position, I don't think you get maybe the same attention, but you do get attention as a quarterback. You draw that attention by acting in a certain way, and that just happens. That's human nature. Well, ones start to pick sides and start to say, either I agree with them or I don't agree with them. But the thing is, it focuses on you and not football.
Well, and I'll give you another. Here's an example. Jason Witten.
Right.
Okay, Jason Witten, tight end for the Cowboys, gonna go down as one of the greatest Cowboys of all time. He has a domestic violence platform where he assists, gives money, and has an organization built up to assist with battered women and things like that. So
interesting.
You don't see a Jason Witten waving the mic at himself. And I think that's maybe the difference here, is that the attention is not on Jason Witten. The attention, if any, is going to be on what is happening on the ground with his platform, his organization. What are they doing to raise money, to help these victims? What are they doing to give them emotional support, financial support? What are they doing that's lasting versus drawing attention really to Jason Witten? And I haven't ever seen or heard Jason Witten himself, except for maybe on the occasion that has a fundraiser or something that's drawing attention to that. It's just, that's what he does. You know, he cares enough about a certain population, a certain segment of the population that is maybe neglected or not given enough resources, and he donates his time and his resources to assist. And I think that if I was an advisor to Colin Kaepernick, I would say, you know, take some lessons from somebody like Jason Witten or somebody like, name it. There's so many, and I think that's where the issue is that so much attention is on 4 or 5 players in the league at any one time versus the hundreds that are doing something good on the ground, and there's no attention going to it. And we need to draw attention to it. In my opinion, we need to draw attention to things that are people are doing that are good. You know, whether that's, I know some of the players are, breast cancer supporters, where they support the fight against breast cancer. Some of the players, because their mom or their auntie or somebody in their family has some
lost
kind of
life,
or is fighting
it,
and so they're putting their money and their time and their resources where their mouth is, and I think that that's really where my advice would be is, just if you care enough about something, then do something about it.
Right, and it can be an action, but again, a planned action. So many times you look at any type of stance, when it's planned, when it's strategic, it just has a better outcome. Mm-hmm. It just does, and people advise you on it, right? And so, to me, to the fans of Colin Kaepernick, he will get an opportunity.
I think he will.
He will get an opportunity. We know that in the NFL, he will get an opportunity. The thing will be, though, is what is he doing now, and what is he doing to work on himself? Mm-hmm. Can he take that stance and do public service or do something from a charity perspective? But then when it comes to football, it's football, and that he's concentrating on those things, the X's and O's, playing the game,
again,
being ready,
not drawing attention to you. And I think when you do things that are like what he did in the past, where it's really drawing attention to you and not really the issue. And maybe it's a small byproduct of taking a stance like that, but it's a smaller byproduct. And I don't know, like you said, I don't know if it's enough. You're not really doing enough, in my opinion. I don't think, unless you're actually boots on the ground, mm-hmm. And doing something to support what you're believing in. And we have lots of examples of this. So Jason Witten is just one, but there's lots of great men, and not saying that Colin is not great, but lots of really solid men in the NFL that are doing something. And unfortunately, the attention is on when something goes wrong.
Of course, instead the magnifying glass gets just so much bigger,
and it becomes this great big thing. So I do think, with you, I don't know if it'll be this year. I think time needs to pass or a desperate situation. But again, I would say, let's look for next year. Let's look for next year, have him land on a squad where he can probably be a backup, and then work his way.
My take on it is that, the FATT Show is with you, Colin. We are. But the thing is, though, is there's a time and place for certain things. And I think I give it probably a couple years. Personally, my opinion would be is a couple years, because again, I think there's some things that need to take place. Now, again, barring injury, like you said, anything can happen. But I think this is a great time for him to work on Colin Kaepernick, the person, and really focus on that. And really, to me, I think the thing is that you see now, you've learned from it, from a standpoint of on a team. How you act, what you do can have an impact on your success. It can have an impact on a team sticking with you. In this unfortunate situation, because this is a guy that made it to the Super Bowl.
He did.
Let's remind
and was
ourselves.
Winning it for at least a half.
Right, until the lights went out.
Yeah, until the lights went out.
But I think, again, he will get back on his feet. And I think the thing is, the FATT Show is behind you on your stance.
100%.
100%.
In fact, we're behind you in the right to make the stance.
Right.
Whatever stance that is, because we all have that right.
That expression.
And the right, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. We have that.
Right.
So we're behind that,
but
because that is a right that we have.
However, you choose your platform.
You do.
You choose the right platform.
And we do also believe in second chances. I
totally.
I think that
totally.
I'm living testament to second chances. So
same here.
Yeah, we all, if we don't have second chances, we probably don't have any chances, because we're just going to need those. And when you're younger, you just make certain choices that might not be as wise. And I think in this case, it wasn't as wise as some other choices could have been. So, Colin Kaepernick, we are definitely behind your success in the NFL.
Yes.
We think you're electric, have a lot of potential to be excellent again. And so we're hoping to see that. I think the NFL needs that excitement. And it's just like when Michael Vick came back. He was very humble, and he did all the right things, even when people were obviously upset with him and expressed that to him.
Right.
And he I think he was prepared for it, and I think it helped him over the long haul. Just that
it's a way of therapy. It is really a way of therapy. So, yep, us at the FATT Show, we got you, Colin.
Yep. All right, so this has been Overtime, and we'll catch y'all next time. Well done.
Well done.